Do you have your, oh, he's got his clapper, here we go. Are you addicted to the past? This is the fourth addiction that Tom Ferry talked about, and I really feel that it's a really good one, even for those of us who are sitting here going, I'm really not addicted to the past. I really live in the present. Let's take a really good look at that, because here's 6 signs that you might be stuck in the past. You constantly talk about the things, the way the things are. You know, you're listening to rap music and you say, there's nothing like Inagata Davida, why don't they have songs like that anymore? Or you resist change. Now, you might say, I don't resist change, but really think about it. When I say to you things like, do you really need to have fried fish every Friday? And you look at me like, I always have fried fish on Friday. That's resisting change. Do you fail to plan for a better future? Every day I think we get up and we fight the battles of that day, and so often we think, I'll think about that tomorrow. If we're failing to plan, we're planning to fail. You argue that the past things used to be better. Oh boy, when I was in high school, we did this, and we didn't have cell phones, and we didn't have that. Have you allowed certain relationships to become stale, uninteresting, and without passion? I'm not talking about, we're not going to talk about that in detail at the Pray It Off meeting, but really take a look at, I have almost 80 friends that 2 years ago, I didn't even know people here. Now I'm on the phone, you want to do this, you want to do that. I love that because I feel that the people that I've met through this group, I feel a passion, I feel an interest, and it makes me happy. And I do feel like I was stuck in a rut with some things and some negativity that I'm happy I'm not in anymore. Do you really think you physically peaked and mentally peaked? Do you say, well, I'm blah blah years old and I'm not going to change. It's just too hard for me to lose weight. That means that you might be addicted to the past. What we have to do is understand the past and then let it go. Something happened at work today. There's a young fellow, and he has very nice demeanor about him, and I just liked his presence. And something happened to another one of the young girls, and she was, really going on and on about it. And he went up to her, and she immediately started telling him what happened. And he looked at her really kindly, and he says, you're going to have to free that from your mind. And then he, it was nice, and then he went away, and I sat there thinking, wow, you're going to have to free that from your mind. But she didn't. She spent the whole day going, can you believe this? Yeah, he said free it from your mind. She's like, what? I'm not freeing it from my mind. I'm going to talk about it till I'm blue in the face. But when he said it, I, over there diligently working at my computer, took a great deal from it and said, how many things do we just need to free? Free from our minds. And that's what I'm talking about. Letting go of the past doesn't mean that you deny it. It doesn't mean that if someone came up to you and said, boy, I knew you back in the 70s and you were kind of a jerk. And you can say, oh, you know what? Thanks for sharing that with me. Maybe I was, but one of the beauties about getting older is that you can live and grow. And I apologize if you felt that way, because right now, spending the rest of my life just kind of loving and serving the Lord. Amen. You're not denying that maybe you were a jerk in the 70s, but you're not going to say, you're right, I might as well kill myself. You just go forward. You free your mind of it. Because there'll always be people who are around to remind you. They're always going to remind you. Oh, you're going to church every Sunday, but I remember when you were at the Jolly Roger drinking. Anyone who knows the Jolly Roger, oh yeah. Oh, you're all holy, Ellen, but I remember back in the day. And I'm like, okay, thanks for, bringing up the 70s. So, what we need to do is we accept it. That was our lives, and now we're going forward. Because the past is nothing but a story we tell ourselves. And if there were bad things that happened, and I don't think there's one person in the room, not one, who could said, I've never had one bad thing happen to me my whole life. Really? Wow. I don't think one person would say it. We need to clean it up, though. We need to accept it, clean it up, and go forward. Just face it. You just say, I am so grateful to God that I can get older. I accept things that they were. Was it all pretty? No. It is what it is. Bob and I started saying that so much. We say it is what it is so much that we now only allow ourselves to say it once a day. And we got to wait till it's really a good time. And then we'll say, well, it is what it is. That's my one time for the day, because it is. That's what life is. The past was what it was. And what will be is what we're going to decide we can do about. Also, we just don't want to freeze our whole selves saying, I've lost weight before, I've gained it back. I'm not doing great at Pray It Off. Nothing will work for me. And I've heard people say this to me. If God isn't going to help me, then I'm hopeless. I thought if I joined a God-centered Pray It Off group, that I would just start losing weight. And then I get up their logs and I say, well, you know, the bacon, the cheeseburger, you got to stop eating those things. God is not behind the fry cooker going, hey, put another burger on for Jane. God's up there going, I am here. I am with you. I am for you. But he's not free will. Free will. He's going to allow us to eat whatever we want to eat. But he's giving us this group, this meeting to try and help us. Many people have said to me, Ellen, aren't you kind of burning the candle at both ends, you know, working full time, with your sister being sick, with your family? How can you still do Pray It Off? I've said it before. I have to do this. This makes me happy, number one. And number two, I will weigh 300 pounds again. I don't think I'll ever be well. I don't think I will. And that's okay, because alcoholics are never well again. They go to their meetings. They have their 10 steps or 12 or whatever many steps there are, and then they say, you know what, I've been good this week, and then they go on to the next week. We need to do this. And then guess what he talks about? Writing stuff down. And I have told you before that somebody will be mean to me or I'll have a problem and I'll write the most virile, is that a word?
Yeah.
Yes.
Terrible email. I'll just sit there and go, oh, you said that to me, XYZ and XYZ. And then I'll highlight things and bold things, and then I'll delete it. And when I'm done, I feel so much better. Or I've sat there and said, what are the things that I'm really happy about? Really happy about. And then I start typing, and I'm like, wow, I guess I'm happier than I thought I was. I find a great deal of freedom in writing things down. If you do, then try it. Letting go of your past empowers you to move forward. It empowers you to say, you know what? You know, there's a person in the group, I'm not going to name her name today, but she's making a big adventure. She's moving to a whole new city, getting another job. She's reinventing herself. Her kids are growing up, and now it's the time for her. And so many people have said, you can't do that. You can't just leave. You can't do this. And then if she listened to people, including me, I went, what? You're leaving? I don't want you to leave. If she listens to that, then that might hold her down. But she's got to be who she's destined to be, and we need to support that and think, that's exciting. It's exciting for her. She's letting go of things here and starting again there. We need to sometimes shake things up big time by saying, you know, my job is so miserable and it's making me gain weight. Can I afford to do this, or can I afford to do that, or this friend really brings me down? How can I separate myself a little bit from them? The past seems safe, but it's really not safe. Was I safe when I weighed 300 and blah blah pounds? I wasn't safe when I was turning to the chips and the cookies and all that. The past isn't safe. We think if we make a decision to change, everything's going to get all shook up. There are people in this room that have lost weight and kept it off. I think their lives are better. Would anyone say their life wasn't? Who that would say, you know what, Ellen, I lost 50 pounds and my life's terrible now? It's only going to be terrible if you thought Prince Charming was going to come in if you lost 50 pounds and you were going to win the lottery, and it didn't happen. Okay.